Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to our reading tonight at the Leading Library of Milwaukee. I'm Tom Hogan, the coordinator of the Milwaukie Poetry Series, and thank you for being here. Yay. Yeah, give yourself a hand, please. You don't know how wonderful it is to look out and see people in the seats. So thank you for being here, and especially thank you because there is a lot of demands on our time. So there's a lot of things that you could be doing, and you're choosing to spend it here with us hearing poetry. So thank you, everybody, for that. We appreciate it a lot. I want to make some other thanks because we have a lot of people to thank for this. The city of Milwaukee, who has supported us really from the beginning. The Leading Library of Milwaukee, who has supported us, and we want to thank, where's Tara go? There she is. So we have a staff person for the library with us tonight, Tara. So thank you very much for what you do and what the library does. Also thanks to the Milwaukie Poetry Series Committee. We have an active committee, and as you know, you have to have people working on something to have it happen. We have another member from the committee over here, Bev Spurgeon. And Bev is the one that, let's do that. Thank you. Bev is the one on our group that's prepared the survey. We did get a grant. We need to do some gathering of information for that to report for the grant. So if you didn't get a survey form, please, Bev's going to hold one up now. And please complete it and give it to us at the before the end of the evening. That would be great. Some other things, we do have a broadside of one of Melanie's poems. They're on the yellow sheet of paper. And I think most people have them. Melanie's got them. And Bev has got them. So that would be great. We have some announcements. Oh, the other person I want to thank, our technician. We wouldn't be able to put this on and live stream this without Josh. So Josh Reynolds back there. Josh is from the Willamette Falls Media Center. So thank you for everything that you're doing. Before I introduce Melanie, a few announcements. The first is a opportunity for a writing contest. The Clackamas County Arts Alliance is sponsoring a Clackamas County writing contest. So I have a form on it here that you could get it tonight. Or you can take a look at their website, Clackamas County Arts Alliance. And there are 4 categories: poetry, fiction, essays, short stories. So, and there is a prize, $250 in each category. So take a look at that if you're a resident of Clackamas County, because it's about Clackamas County. We also want to welcome our Oregon Poet Laureate Emerita, Paul Ann Peterson, who is here. Let's give Paul a hand. Thank you for being here. It it was lovely to see you. I think Sean's got an announcement.
I'm with the Poetry Box, and we're having a checkbook contest right now. It runs through March 15th. Top prize is $500, but we have 3 winners who all get published. So just check it out at thepoetrybox.com.
Okay, thank you. And is there one more?
Carolyn Adams, do you want to say anything now? Or? Sure.
Thank you, Melanie. It's really gracious of you. Shall I pass this on, or shall I?
Why don't you just tell people about it?
Okay.
Yeah.
Melanie's, one of her poems is actually in the Oregon Poetry Calendar. And so she said she's going to graciously read her poem tonight with her other beautiful work. I have the calendars in the back. They're on sale for $5. They were $15, but it's February, so they need to go. And also, I have these flyers in back. Next month, March 1st, the submission window opens for the 2024 calendar. So there's information here. once the window opens, the guidelines will be on Submittable. The link is there, so, and I'll have these at the back of the table too. Thank you very much.
Thank you for everything you're doing. I say a word about Melanie's books, and they are available after the reading back here in the corner. And my lovely wife Jane is going to be selling them. So if you're interested in one of her books, step back there at the table and take a look at them. Melanie's going to read for us, then we're going to have a question and answer period, and then she's going to finish the reading tonight with a final poem. I've been looking forward to this reading, and it's my pleasure to introduce our poet tonight. She's a lifelong resident of the Pacific Northwest. Her most recent collection of poetry, A Long, Wide Stretch of Calm, was published by the Poetry Box. Earlier books are Continuing Bridge and Determining Sky. The poems have appeared with modern dance performances and also in collaboration with various artists. She's been published in Cronus Quarterly, Buddhist Poetry Review, The Poeming Pigeon, and in the anthology, A 21st Century Plague, Poetry from the Pandemic, something that we've all just been through. A poem of hers will be, as we've just heard, included in the 2023 Oregon Poetry Association calendar. So would you join me in welcoming our poet tonight, Melanie Green.
Thanks so much, Tom. Thank you, Tom. Thank you to the library. Thank you to Milwaukie Poetry Series, 16 years. And thank you for being here in person. It's so good to be together. And also, we are on camera and being recorded. So, hello to our listeners. On the poster for the Milwaukie series, it says, oh, this is the 16th year, maybe that was mentioned, the 16th year for this series. And it says on the poster, enriching Milwaukie, one poem at a time. And I think that's doable. And of course, we enrich others' lives, and we enrich our own lives through poetry. So the first poem I read will be from the recent issue, The Poeming Pigeon, which is beautiful. This is published by Sean and her husband, Robert. This issue has, in addition to poems, there's also visual art. So also, if you're a visual artist, that's something to think about. First poem I'm going to read tonight is for my mother. My mother would have certainly been a very early influence on me in loving poetry. She wrote light verse. She also loved to rhyme. And I remember when I was a child, she would be washing my hair in the bathroom sink, and she would make up a little rhyming story. You know, there's a frog, and it's on a log. And of course, if there were kittens, you know, they were wearing mittens. So, and I just took the page mark out. I apologize. for my mother. You are my alphabet, my bobolink, my pear orchard in bloom. You are my foothold and thrive. You, my floral print, my banyan tree. You are my badminton, my rubber duck, my back rub. You are my tropical storm. You, my sting and my salve. You are my plaid thermos. You, my bird of paradise. You are my particle, my atmosphere, my aurora borealis. You, my Thanksgiving and my Keats, my cohere and my caravan. You are my singing in the car. You are my Pacific Ocean, my row, row, row your boat, my necessary oar. First book that I published was Determining Sky, beautiful book designed by John Larson, who is here tonight. Sky comes up a lot in my poems. For me, it represents a lot of things. Sometimes it represents transcendence. Sometimes being in the body can be confining. So it's the unconfined. It's also what we share. I know we have our countries and we have airspace, but truly there is one sky that we all share. So I love sky. Also, my father in his early career was a pilot, and also my brother was a pilot. So I thought about being a pilot, but poetry, I went that direction instead. Gate 74, Minneapolis Airport. Waiting, everyone shifts toward beautiful. Everyone is the center of their destination. Some quietly read for it. One man's talking hasn't stopped. Reading Bill Stafford poems, I imagine the older woman across the aisle from me leaning forward saying, "Read me a good one." And I do. And her day goes different because I have. The poem and how it sinks in. It seeps over into her seatmate's life, who takes it to St. Paul, goes for a drive, stops at the apple orchard, and feeds the goat. "Chew on this," he says. It's raining. He can see his breath. Waiting is the lake. The wind hurries the water, except near shoreline. A calm mirror, trees, color begins. The outboard motor is taken out of the boat. Everyone is the center of their destination. Mary Oliver quote, "Poems are not words, after all, but fires for the cold. Ropes let down to the lost, something as necessary as bread." This is a short poem, and I'm going to read it twice. The Sweet of the Want. Bread on my plate, candles lit. I keep catching myself in happiness. Swaying the wind, Douglas fir, the sound of it. Let the open. If you take the ordinary, there are so many. You say the sweet, oh yes, I want to read that book. Bread on its way to my mouth. The sweet of the want. Bread on my plate, candles lit. I keep catching myself in happiness. Swaying the wind, Douglas fir, the sound of it. Let the open. If you take the ordinary, there are so many. You say the sweet, oh yes, I want to read that book. Bread on its way to my mouth. Something fun. After reading Laura Hillenbrand's book, Seabiscuit, I really got into horses and went out to Portland Meadows a couple of times. I watched a few races, and they really name racehorses this. These are names taken off of the racing form. It's just a list poem for fun. They really name racehorses this. Dinner mint. Start the music. The cat's back. And all that jazz. Moon Baron, Wind Trail, Mountain Creek. Be still my heart. Abstract image. Pushkin, silver pen, dazzling Dante. Why settle for less? Go ask Alice. I've had it. I'm a free holy baby. Finally to the bank. My moo. Insurance scam. Toad you so. B the bunny. Ignition. Adhesive. Get me free. Yes. Heaven. The circumference of mercy. Tell me something real. Is there sunlight on water somewhere? Tell me yes. I think I am my will and break to find I have a body. Headaches, nausea, night sweats, poor sleep. As if to find the unadorned, a virus dismantles me. This is my breaking. Now for the mending. White candles and purple violets on the pine table. Tell me something beautiful. Mercy follows. I will now read Bats. Resting on the couch by the large picture window, my attention is devoted to sky. Dusk, blue slips away like water into sand. Black silhouettes now, the walnut tree near, linden trees and houses across the street. Street lamp arcs a thin glow below the unclaimed dark. Then bats, diving triangular wings flutter, shift and veer in the traction of hunger, the corridor for purpose. How atoms braid together or fall apart to spaciousness, hunger, prayer. Form is but a moment. Motion feeds us. Stillness retrieves the sky. You may notice in some of my poems I do refer to illness. I've been living with an autoimmune illness for almost 35 years now. So that is what that is all about. Continuing bridge. I love the term continuing bridge. It is from a Welsh text, the Book of Taliesin. And I love to steal terms, words, phrases I have stolen from people right here in the audience, my fellow poets. Some say it's a form of flattery. And some say plagiarism, yes. This was published by C. Rosenau of Mountains and Rivers Press. I work often from a word list. I sometimes have problems recalling words, so I listen to a lot of audiobooks. So I just write down a word if I haven't used it in a while, or if it's just fun to say, like flim flam, flummox. Some of my poems will have more simple language, and others will be more vocabulary rich. I love putting words together that maybe have never been put together before, like a little chemistry experiment. I keep a Lucille Clifton poem on hand. She's clipped to my writing list. This poem, she has passed. She's a highly accomplished, a highly esteemed poet. Here's her poem that gives me faith. The making of poems, the reason why I do it, though I fail and fail, in the giving of true names, is I am Adam and his mother, and these failures are my job. Lucille Clifton. This poem is for my brother. What was the flummox, the flim flam? What had 5-year-old me in smolder and revolt, cramming socks into the black zippered bag? Gusto, rapscallion temper, I buffalo charged out of our apartment, trampled through carport, fence shadow, sun glare, stood raging on the sidewalk, bunk and blither, faced the truck traffic flurry road. On the other side, Farrell's ice cream parlor. tall, sauntered up then, bestowed, regal, snap hero, my older brother. No yap, no cape, but calm, companionable. A fine sieved sing-song. He gave me his hand. He walked me a spoking voyage, the soothing way home. This is February, so a Valentine's poem, sort of, a wishful Valentine's poem. The day before Valentine's Day, mountain slide, sun jive, forget sturdy shoe reason and dungeon nettle body, base jump and dive of faith in love, the brazen intermingle, eager, sparked. I'd give it a try with turfy zeal. My snugged heart doesn't know any elegant better. And a poem for my father. This is written in third person. She sits on the bench on the bluff. A big announcement, she is actually me. Sometimes I get tired of writing I all the time. So, and this is sitting on the bench on the bluff, overlooking Oaks Bottom wetlands. Below, green leaf weave and wetland sprawl. Above, barn swallow swoop splendor dive. She ruminates her muckabout day, running a red light, a broken watch, the misspoken. Had she listened to her father, balanced, faithful, years sooner. Sometimes it isn't worth the arguing. The grieving fields sigh. Still, alluring horizontality and the lucent ore sun, all in front of her, late sweetening the blue refuge sky through which he flew. That's good. The power of poetry across time. Continuing bridge. Yes, I do see poetry as a continuing bridge. And each of us as well, we are a continuing bridge. I wanted to introduce you to a poet. Some of you may know about her, Hannah Emerson. I find her most awe-inspiring. Hannah Emerson is a young woman. She has autism, and she is unable to speak. Through the help of technology, with a keyboard, tapping keyboard, if someone holds a keyboard for her, you can find her on YouTube. And in the film that I was watching, Her mother's holding the keyboard so she can tap. She can tap words. And she has been able to make poems. A poet has helped her, helped to organize the work. But this is a book of poetry by a woman with autism who cannot speak. I find that quite inspiring. So I just wanted to read you a short Hannah Emerson poem, Language of Leaves. Plants feel in graceful poetry that they are life. How each life has its own reality. Some sounds use words. I hear the language of leaves. It is deep and order, soft and real. Trees yearn for peaceful breeze. I open our poetry. Its life is early. Its life listens. Reality, soon ours. We do our job. The Kissing of Kissing, poems by Hannah Emerson. Gertrude Stein has said, any time is the time to make a poem. Mary Oliver has also said, the angel doesn't sit on your shoulder unless the pencil's in your hand. This poem, Fellowship, was published in Cosmos Quarterly. The poetry editor, Carolyn Martin, is here tonight. One thing I was hoping might happen tonight is some poets might meet up with some publishers. And also poetry publishers are often poets themselves. This was inspired after hearing a Gregory Pardlow poem, Wishing Well, on my favorite poetry podcast, Poetry Unbound. I don't know if you're familiar with that. Done by Padraig O'Tuma in his lovely Irish accent. Very intelligent, warm, intimate. It can also be found through On Being with Krista Tippett. That's how I first heard about him. Gosh, I can be lying on my couch resting and listening to a poem. It just totally transports you. It's quite the way to travel. So I am enjoying being introduced to new poets. Fellowship. Sunday morning, pale tally-ho, I try to write, while homeless woman sits on my corner. Truth it out, practicing open to the is, and my lonesome walks me out of the house. Unsheathed from solitude, now we eye to eye. Columbia pants, baggy on her skinny. I ask, how are you? Thirsty, hungry, but won't stop the fight for freedom. You? On the other side of luck, I say. read her cardboard as scripture. Any help makes a big difference. Bring hot water, turkey jerky, masks. What if she needs my bathroom? She asks my name. Her double-ringed fingers pull blanket taut, drubbing out the cold. You feel the ground shift? Literal or metaphorical? Oh, that's good polarity. Polarity is bipolar. I might have a doppelganger. Chalking blue dashes, orange slashes, she arts up my corner. October sun, cathedrals, the old walnut tree. We, a humble harmonium, a cross-current choir, hymn of a moment. To the waking. Here's to that which trues to quiet, to patterned leaf, purple crocus, to a wooded wild away, ponderosa pine, mountain rise. Here's to kestrel hover, gray skies, lichen, to carbon, copper, hydrogen. Here's to the quark, the boson and electron, to black holes, nebula, spiraling galaxies. Here's to the ever-moving and the ever-still conjoined, to metatarsal, metacarpus, metamorphosis. Here's to the open hand, the giver and receiver, to loftings and root, to cobalt, crimson, raven black, the fixity rift, surfacings tingle, new leaf and cold air, waking the face and lungs of it all. Something small, and this is the small poem that is in the Oregon Poetry Calendar that Carolyn Adams of Red Shoe Press published this year. Something small. Something as small as a song sparrow harrows the gray. Bell path toward 11 blue and the green leaf surround. Okay, just a few more poems. Sure. A long, wide stretch of calm. This is the most recent published book by Sean of the Poetry Box. Cover photograph is Crater Lake in Oregon, photographer Jerry Zalata. A long, wide stretch of calm came from having a ferry ride with some friends. We had an adventure in the San Juans. I love the big old ferries, right? That lovely slow, just moving through the water, nice and safe, watching the ocean go by. An unconfined astronomy, present in the wanderer's heart, an explosion of stars, smoke tethered to the impulse of meander. And what if the body cannot follow? Traveler, even while you rest, your charged particles, a galaxy of dark energy and spar luster, rockets through space-time, exploring the momently unshackled now, listening to rain. Sometimes I get impatient with the poem. You first have the idea, it's kind of exciting, and then you're working on the poem and you realize, oh, this has a long, long, long way to go. So, one thing I like to call to mind is a Peter Sears quote, poet, he has passed. Peter Sears has said, "A poem is the process of earning it." At the edge of a lake, now you see the distance you've come to arrive at the green and quiet lake. Douglas fir, sweet needle scent, sun on water, osprey overhead. At the shore of silence, what becomes and unbecomes rejoins stillness beneath the trees. After the rain's long shadow, I wake to light, a blue frontier, the inlet of sky. I walk out of the house of worry onto the path of sun and patterned leaf. I walk beneath the flowering plum. Bright be my necessity, bone deep. Two more short poems. They're short, so I will read them twice. I did have a friend after receiving this book, she said something like, I like your poems, but sometimes I just get in the rhythm of them and then they're over. So one suggestion is just, you can just read the poem again and again if you'd like. Radiant. Sun on rain-dark road. After ill and thought-worn, some glance of light, uncurtained wide, with sparrow, leaf sway, and shine bold. The sorrowed and commotion drop away. Radiant. Sun on rain-dark road. After ill and thought-worn, some glance of light, uncurtained, wide, with sparrow, leaf sway, and shine bold. The sorrowed and commotion drop away. One more poem and then we'll do questions, Q&A? Okay. The poet, who has passed, Audre Lorde, has said, "We write what we need to learn." I find this true over and over again. Rest. Rain. The silver sound surrounds each corner of the house. In the inside, there is no elsewhere bell, just rest, fidelity to the atom, to the self. Rest. Rain. The silver sound surrounds each corner of the house. In the inside, there is no elsewhere bell, just rest. Fidelity to the atom, to the self. Thank you.
So we're at a question and answer period. If anyone has questions, Melanie. And on one that's already part question, part comment. I love your quotes. And could you talk about that a bit, about selecting them? Do you have a list of quotes? Do you keep quotes? And
These are quotes that I've been living with and would have written down. Audre Lorde, gosh, I probably have had that quote around for 20 or more years. Remember listening to her on the radio. And took a writing workshop with Peter Sears. I never did get to meet Lucille Clifton, but I know she came to Portland. And that poem is from a Mountain Writer's postcard, I believe. So I need inspiration from time to time. Yeah.
do you pull particular ones out?
Pull particular ones out.
You sort through your list?
You know, I think I probably gave you them all tonight.
They were great.
And of course, not just about poetry, but about creativity. So many of us have creative pastimes, whether it's cooking or sewing or painting or carpentry, you know. So, Michelle.
Can you speak to how you conceive of the newness and how that's your arrangement of it and with it has changed over the last 3 books or 30 years?
The question is how I see the numinous and how that has, how it has changed, or has that changed with my relationship with the numinous? No, I can't. I can't give voice to that. The numinous. I did grow up in a Judeo-Christian family. We were religious, so I was exposed to that language. Something in me resonated with that. Through the years, I don't participate in an organized religion, but clearly it's something I'm interested in. I have a couple of meditation teachers, and meditation is very important to me. The numinous, that which you cannot find words for. And yet we do, and poetry is a heck of a good way to try. I'm not sure I'm really answering the question. My relationship with the numinous, I will say, with the years, I see so much commonality and similarity. I love Rumi, I love Sufi poets, Psalms in the Bible, I love Psalms, I'm reading the Hindu poet Mirabai. Ancient Chinese, Japanese, Native American. There is so much that we have in common, and I think as I age, I'm able to see more our commonality. It's a rod.
Thank you, Melanie, for sharing your poetry tonight. You said a truth. You start off excited with the poem. You know there's something there. And then you realize you have a long way to go.
You listen.
So what keeps you on the track? What are some things you do to help yourself continue to work on it, to actually get to that point where you feel completion?
The question is, as I mentioned, that when I work on a poem and I realize it takes a long time, what keeps me on the track of that poem and hanging in there? Excellent question, and I think sometimes it's a different thing. When it's a love poem like from my mother, my brother, my father, when there's love there that you really want to articulate, that's rather lovely to wake up each morning and want to work on that poem. Sometimes I'm writing about something that's difficult, maybe a difficult emotion. There's a poem called Temper. It's about anger in the poeming Pigeon, that journal, the recent issue. So if there's a really strong emotion, like something challenging that I'm working with in my life, that can be fuel. I always find that I learn something that's helpful in the process if I stay with it. Sometimes I think it's kind of a much quieter engine. Maybe something I'm learning, or like if it's about meditation, I'm learning that quiet and stillness has a depth to it, if we can bring ourselves to that. So those poems, they might be a little slower, or they're certainly more gentle. And there's probably some poems that will take me years. So, did that? Thank you.
One last question. So, I'm wondering, with your illness and that your continual struggle with that, and thinking particularly about the encounter with a homeless woman, whether your illness is the source for you for connecting with people who are suffering.
The question is about my having a chronic illness. Does that, the poem was brought up, the poem about the homeless woman, and does my having an illness help me to interact with other people in a way? Have I got that question? Did I hear that?
Well, personally, and also how it informed your poetry.
Certainly informs my, and also how does living with chronic illness inform my poetry? Certainly it makes me hungry and thirsty for poetry, for your poems. I find reading a poem and writing a poem, they are of equal importance to me. Illness can open one, it can make one humble at times. Just, it's just I can get myself fed today and I'll lie on the couch. And maybe I'll listen to an audiobook or a poem. I certainly, in that particular poem, Fellowship, about the homeless woman, it very, very easily could have been me. I'm quite privileged. I'm on public assistance. I know that people have challenges and have illnesses. This woman, it was pretty clear to me after the first sentence that she was dealing with a mental illness. I certainly know that it's not my identity, and I know it wasn't her identity. And I do feel that it kind of helped me be a little more on common ground with someone who has a challenge like that.
Did I see one more hand back there?
Yeah, there's a few comments in the chat.
Yeah.
Mason Green Experience says, hi, I'm Mel from South Minnesota. Douglas Andrews says he's watching here in Dogwood City of the West. And Cecilia Rosenau says it's such an honor to publish your poems.
Oh. Thank you so much. For the purposes of the recording, just a few comments in the chat were mentioned. One was my publisher of Continuing Bridge, and one was my nephew, Mason, who's watching in Minnesota. So the sound system must be working. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So Melanie's going to end with a poem.
So one last poem. One last quote. This is a Thai proverb. Life is so short, we must move very slowly. Luster of silence, dapple and sway, sun and breeze, drifting through leaves of the walnut tree. Know the sky is here, not by wandering, but by the slow. Feel the psalm of lingering, calm in afternoon's echo of light. May you have some slow, some savoring in your lives. Happy poetry.
Thank you so much, Melanie. Her books are back there in the corner. If you want to take a look at them. If you haven't completed one of our surveys and you would like to do that, we'd be very happy to have you do that. Bev has some over there on the table. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for everybody, too, who is logging in on the live stream. So we appreciate you all doing that. So thank you all for being here. Yeah, have a good rest of the night.